Okay, let me jump in. I'm going to start with a little bit of pep talk. This is just kind of coming from the fact that sometimes I need to hear it. And I seem to be running into a lot of people in coaching right now that are hanging on by a thread, putting on the brave face, all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of went through and made a note of all the things that I'm reiterating to myself on an ongoing basis. This isn't meant to be the definitive pep talk of all pep talks. This is stuff that keeps me off the ledge and gets me back in motion and focus on the right stuff. So number one, I have kind of this fatalistic view of entrepreneurship that actually helps me maintain my sanity and perspective. And so first point I want you to hear, if we were sitting over coffee right now and you were hanging on by a thread, I'd be telling you, this is a ride, not a destination. And all rides come to an end. And this is a business that will eventually end one way or another. Only about 1/2 of 1% of businesses exist 100 years. It's only about 2% of businesses that exist 50 years. Most businesses are closed within 20 years. This is a ride, not a destination. And yet we treat it with a lot of permanence in our head. For a lot of us, because it's the single best version of ourselves we've found. So there is this huge desire to hold on to it, need to hold on to it. But realizing that this is a ride, not a destination. This is a vehicle, not where you're going. This is a chapter, not the book, is to me crucial in not losing perspective and fighting for this in a way that is unrealistic. It's like fighting against death. It's gonna happen, right? I'm a little bit obsessed. On a side note, if you need to pick me up right now, either relationally or work-wise, there is a song that I'm absolutely obsessed with, in part coming out of a divorce and starting a new relationship, but just in general as a business owner. It's called One More Day by Lisa Loeb. You all remember Lisa Loeb, the Stay person, but I think it's called Another Day. Sorry, Another Day. Spectacular song if you get a chance to listen to it. But it's about enjoying it for today, and especially with your team and your person. You have today, so you enjoy that. We'll figure out tomorrow. So that's number one. This is a ride, not a destination. Don't lose sight of that. Otherwise, it becomes something that you try and hold on to that you can't. Number two, I want to tell you, and this is what I have to tell myself. You've already won. You've already won. If this is some thing for you, like it was for me, that proved some things to yourself, I want you to hold on to the fact that that's already past tense. You've already won. The vast majority of businesses in the United States don't survive 1 year, much less 5 years. The vast majority of businesses never have more than a single employee. The vast majority of businesses are owned by males. So if you're a woman on the call, right? Like there's so many ways that this cannot be taken away from you, no matter what happens next, right? Like you won a gold medal in the Olympics. Somebody's going to win it next time around. You're not going to win it again, but nobody can take away the gold medal that you've won, and you've accomplished something already in this experience that can't be erased. And when we keep in mind that everything eventually pulls into the destination, everything ends, right? That's not the gold medal, right? Because that's not something you do. You don't survive forever. So you've already won. It's already past tense. Whatever happens next, if you, and probably you will, inevitably fail, your business will end in a way that is not ideal for you, like it will for me at some point. It doesn't change what you've already accomplished. You are a successful entrepreneur and leader, period. End of story, full stop, by even being here and on this call. By the way, probably the reason you're successful is because you're curious and you want to learn, as opposed to arrogant and know it all. So that's a double win. Number three, I always kind of remind myself of this. Big businesses and governments run a worse operation than we do. And I'm not an anti-government person, but all you got to do is go pull up the headlines and see, Uber losing $500 million in a quarter, or LifeStance in our industry closing 42 offices after they acted like the 800-pound gorilla, Or my local hospital, nonprofit hospital here that ran a $76 million deficit for the last year. Most of us don't have a luxury of even running negative by a dollar, right? Like even in the bad years, we have to stay positive financially. We run a tighter ship. You run a mathematically more successful business than a lot of companies whose stock trades on stock exchanges, than a lot of governments who seem to have unlimited money. Now, we don't have the latitude and the wiggle room they do, but you run a better operation than a lot of the things that we hold out as the big successes in this world. So hold on to that. Even if and when you decide you're done, you've done it better than this. Another important one for me is that everyone leaves. Now this may be a carryover of my abandonment issues from childhood or something, but in the end, everybody's going to leave your company. If this is a ride for you and not a destination, then it's a ride for them, not a destination. And when their journey leads away from you, it's so often has so little to do with you and what you could have done, should have done, whatever. Now, their narrative, the story that they make in their head to make sense of something scary, changing a job, moving from a place that's a really good place to work, those narratives are often hurtful and what will mess with your own story. But the reality is everybody's going to leave, and it's not your job, and therefore it's not your failure to keep them there or to keep them from leaving. That's just part of the journey. Now, if we get lucky, we're going to have some people that are on that ride with us for a lot longer. But on average, therapists in this industry stay about 2.2 to 2.5 years at a private practice before they move on. If you can get them to stay 3 before they leave, or 3.5, right? You're not failing. You're doing better than most. The goal with people in your world professionally should be to give them a reason and a place and an opportunity to stay longer. But don't for a second think that the goal is to keep them forever. That will be extremely rare. By the way, if it happens, the people that will probably be around the longest are your admin people. I remain convinced that as a practice owner, if you have to pick, it's a lot harder to find a Spring or a Wade or a Sarah than it is an awesome therapist. There's a lot of great therapists out there. People who know how to make lists and also know how to do culture, right? Which is rare. Those are the ones that often stick the longest as well. So prioritize your admin team. Let's see. This is a big one for me, especially in the imposter syndrome area, which I still deal with. There's so many moments where I'm in over my head. You know, I wake up in the middle of the night and think, what the fuck have I got myself into with this? Brave requires scared. By definition, if you're brave, but you're not scared, you're not brave. You're just dumb, right? Like if the risk doesn't scare the living daylights out of you, then you're missing the core element in what is required to demonstrate bravery, right? And the same thing with strength and grit, right? If it's not hard, if it doesn't make you want to run away, it doesn't make you want to give up, then by definition, you're not demonstrating strength by continuing to do it. The very presence of pain or difficulty is what's required to demonstrate strength. And so if you have some notion in your head that you're failing at this because you want to run away, because you want to give up, because you think, what have I gotten myself into? That by itself is the very, to me, cornerstone of bravery and self-aware, deliberate action in this world. So don't for a second, and I think this happens when you get groups of business owners together or entrepreneurs, everybody puts on the brave face. Don't for a second think that most people that are in charge of things aren't terrified on some level. I can tell you that from Vistage. Some of the other people in the room that are in Vistage circles can tell you that. You get behind closed doors with owners of businesses, any business, any kind of business, with other people they trust, and everybody's a hot mess, right? We ride the roller coaster between thinking I got this and thinking, what the hell am I doing? I should just go back to working for somebody else. So don't put that requirement on yourself to not be terrified. Terrified also is your job on behalf of your employees, right? That arrogance flies too close to the sun. That fear keeps you making sure things stay between the lines and that people get paid and all that kind of stuff. No one cares about this as much as you do. No one cares about this as much as you do. The people that have left that talk shit on you for 6 months after they left, they don't care anymore. The people that you probably made a huge difference in their lives by creating this place that think highly of you, they don't care about this place as much as you do. The people that work here don't care about this place as much as you do. They may come close, right? But there's a different level of caring about it that goes with putting your life on the line. Gary Vaynerchuk, if any of you know who Gary V is, he's kind of a talking head in the business space, but he's got a great rant. People will often ask him, why do employees not think like owners? And he goes off on like, why would you expect an employee to think like an owner? If they thought like an owner, they'd be an owner, not an employee, right? Now, your senior leadership team will develop ownership thinking. So I don't mean to say that they don't think very close to that. But the vast majority of people that work for you will not care about this business as much as you do. The people that leave you the shitty Google reviews, the people that tell you that you're awesome this week, they don't care nearly as much. In fact, probably the only people that will care nearly as much as other business owners, because we get it and we commiserate with the journey. But don't ever hold it against other people. Don't let it be a basis of resentment for you that people don't care as much as you do. Leading from a resentful place is a brutal place to lead. It'll make you cruel, right? So allow people to not think like owners. Make it okay that they don't care as much as you do. If they did, they'd be your competitor, not on your team, right? You will 200%, and I chose that number for a reason, survive the inevitable failure of this business. Right? Whether this business dies when you literally die, or it dies because the industry changes, or it dies because everybody leaves, you will not 100% survive this. You will 200% survive this, because you will come out of this with something more valuable than any MBA that you can go get at any school. I don't care if it's Harvard or Stanford or anywhere else. That the experience that you carry out of this with scar tissue, right, sets you up inevitably to be more successful in life than you were even in this venture, right? So not only will you bounce, you will soar. And if we accept that this is a time limited ride, that this is just a phase of our journey, however long it lasts, and you will come out of it more equipped to do whatever's next. To me, that makes it a lot easier, a lot safer, a lot less scary to do this. Wisdom, maturity is just a long list of shit we never want to do again. Nobody's born wise. Nobody's born smart. Most of the smart people have a wake of carnage behind them, right? Whether it's personal relationships, work relationships, purchase decisions, money spent on SEO, whatever it is, right? Like all of that is hard-earned wisdom that also equals blood on the floor. So let me stop it there for a second before I get too self-righteous and grandiose and all this thinking. What do you want to echo? What do you want to add? I am by far from the only wise, experienced, scarred up person on here. What would you add to this equation? What would you share with the other people on the call that you use to talk off the ledge yourself?